But Ahriman is much stronger. And Ahriman right now has the rightful task of being the Lord of the earth, we could say. Like Sauron is called in the Tolkien's Ring trilogy. And Saruman, the wizard there, tremendous power over the earth is given to him, and it will be there, according to Steiner, until the very end of Earth evolution. Lucifer got the first half. That's the half we teach children about. All of those ancient civilizations, those myths, those folk tales, those songs, all of that is first half. Now we're in the second half, and the question is, can we understand what new capabilities are needed? The teacher trainings, in a way, are losing their relevance because they're still working so much out of teaching the child's soul. But children today need something different. Let me give you an example from my own star-crossed teaching career. The first time I taught 6th grade, which was 1987, Dan Dugan was just a blip on the radar in those days. In fact, I wouldn't have even been able to tell you what radar was in those days. But I came into the class to teach the children, to show them why the setting sun takes on a golden, then orange, and then red appearance. So how did I do this? I described to them the experience I had had the year before going to Hawaii for the first time and going all the way to Kauai and standing there at the far western end of the United States and watching the sun setting over the Pacific and seeing the clouds forming and the moisture and the colors, and they were spellbound. They were just wrapped. It was out of my experience. It was an exotic place. I built up the whole scene. I touched their souls. And then we followed that with a demonstration in which I put a lot of soapy water into a fishbowl, which had been clear, and we watched how the light of the slide projector became more and more golden, orange, and red. And then they wrote about it. Wonderful. Well, let's flash forward a few years. It's my most recent class. The year is 2002. We're in 6th grade. And this is what I did. I walked into the room with a fishbowl. What's that, Mr. Schwartz? I thought we're in physics, not zoology. Ha, 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 ha. Just wait, you'll see. Pour water in it. Where are the fish? Just please be quiet, you'll see. Mr. Schwartz, why are you putting all that soap in? Isn't that rather wasteful? Aren't we ecological in the Waldorf school, Mr. Schwartz? Just wait, you'll see. And then the light starts to shine through it. And of course, they're all so intent on finding something wrong with what I'm doing. Only one person actually notices, look, it's turning, is it supposed to turn color? Then they all come into it. So what was the difference? Soul in the 80s was sufficient. Spirit, will, doing something. Just be quiet and watch. Just observe. You'll see. You'll understand. So getting their will engaged. This is really the key. And here again, Waldorf education is an education above all in which the youngster learns the mastery of will. And we are by and large failing our children just because the soul work is so beautiful and so compelling and so meaningful. And I would say that 6th grade is something like the turning point. Steiner, in a way, really laid it out that the 1st to 5th grade, of course, there was no kindergarten initially, and there was also no high school initially. But we could say even now, the parent and toddler years, all the way up to somewhere in 6th grade, has a strongly feminine quality. And with this feminine quality comes this cult of beauty, which is rightfully there, and the study of the ancient civilizations, and the unfolding of the soul under this feminine Luciferic impulse. But come 6th grade, the 12 and a half year old now is ready to take on his or her own personal karma. They're ready to take their destiny in hand. And as soon as they are ready to take that step, Ahriman now is really going to be standing in their way, because he rules the area where karma now takes place. So now we need something Ahrimanic and masculine brought into the education, and this is when physics occurs. It's perhaps no coincidence that for some teachers the very first physics demonstration, for others at least something that comes around the way in 6th grade, is to take the children into a completely darkened room. That there's no light there whatsoever. And then the teacher begins to do demonstrations involving light and color. But first there is utter darkness. This is like an initiation experience. This is like the Holy of Holies in the Mystery Temple that the children are being taken into. In that respect, Dan Dugan's right. On the other hand, he's really wrong, because they're not being taken in there to become anthroposophists. They're taken in there to become themselves, to experience. Now you are going to go through a time in your life where the soul life will darken, and you're going to have to find something else, another source of light, a kind of light that will be ready to interact with darkness, because that's where true color lies. That's where you're going to find your own inner color, your own inner soul forces. And in a way, Ahriman is telling them, like Newton, no, it's all gray. It's really gray. It just appears to the retina to be color, but it's like me, it's gray. And Lucifer, in a certain way, is not going to help here. This has to be found for the first time out of the student, him or herself. Again, based on my own experience, I see so many teachers who do not allow the children, do not demand of the children that things come out of them. It's so much easier to keep spoon-feeding them. The dependency that Waldorf kids often have on their 7th or 8th grade teacher, it's a bit like that of the child who's never weaned. You know, the mother who just can't bear to let the child go from the breast, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful relationship. That kind of dependency, that kind of love that's there. But we have to wean them. And the sciences are where we do it. Now think about this. Steiner told the teachers that they should introduce the students at some point to the electric bell. This is 1919, 1920, thereabouts. He's talking about this. A number of teachers, I have been told, who were in his audience looked at each other in a quizzical way and even kind of laughed and basically